Hi, I'm Randall Grahm from Bonny Doon Vineyard, and you're watching Understanding Wine with Austin Beeman. Well, I love Screwcaps. I mean, I didn't think I would love Screwcaps, and I shouldn't say I love them. I just really like them a lot. I like them for a number of reasons, and for reasons I didn't even expect prior to using them. I ended up coming to Screwcaps really maybe for the wrong reasons, mostly because I just hated corks so much, and I was so disappointed by corks. And then for several years, 3-4 years, we used synthetic closures, and that was a disaster, total disaster. So having two disasters, I ended up with Screwcaps, and it was kind of a do or die election for us, in the sense that nobody had really adopted it for fine wine on any kind of scale. There was a company called Plumpjack that made 150 cases of Cabernet with Screwcaps, but no one had done it, on a large scale. And my colleagues said, Randall, we got to test this. Let's send it to Ohio, for example. I said, that's not a really great idea. If you send it to Ohio, nobody's even going to know what happened, and you're not going to have a chance to publicize it. And pretty much, it's a foregone conclusion. You don't think Gallo and Mondavi and Behringer haven't studied this and had focus groups, and what do you think those focus groups concluded? Well, they concluded, I'm sure, that people don't like Screwcaps. So my guess is it's not going to work. What we have to do is change people's perceptions, and the only way we can do that is do this on a very large scale. And the reason I thought this might work, wine writers were just writing publicly about it, what a disaster corks were, and sommeliers were really also just tearing their hair out about the incidence of bad corks. At the time, there was, anywhere between 5 to 10% bad corks, an enormous percentage. So I thought, maybe we can get somebody to write about this, because they were already writing about it. So we staged a very outlandish, outrageous event. Actually, we did two, one in New York and one in California, on the death of the cork, the demise of Monsieur Thierry Bouchon. And we held a funeral for Monsieur Bouchon and had a wake for Monsieur Bouchon. And I persuaded Jancis Robinson to deliver the eulogy. And this definitely got us a little bit of press. But here's the amazing thing. After we did this big press event, we got all this publicity, which of course was very, very helpful. It turns out most customers didn't really even care all that much after all. Yeah, they might have preferred corks, but if it's in a Screwcap, that's fine too, not a biggie. So it was maybe even a little bit of a letdown. Now, you'd asked, why do I like Screwcaps so much? It turns out not only do they obviate the problem of corkiness, but there's a lot of other really interesting things that they do that most people aren't unaware of. One is the wine, you're able to hold the wine, keep the wine for much longer. The wine matures more slowly with a Screwcap than with a cork. So all things being equal, a wine sealed with a Screwcap will probably age 50% longer than one with a cork. You're not obliged to use as much sulfur dioxide in the wine, which is also a very beautiful thing. And then lastly, if you manage this correctly, you can create some interest. They've talked about the phenomenon of the so-called post-bottling reduction, as if this is a major issue. Well, it can be an issue, but sometimes wines undergo a awkward period after they're bottled and become very reduced. And reduced can mean either very closed, or it can mean the presence of some sulfur-containing compounds that may be a little bit funky, inappropriate, rude, if you will. At the right levels, at the wrong levels, these kinds of compounds are obnoxious and not very pleasant. At the right levels, at threshold levels, they turn into an interesting complexing element. So if you manage this correctly, you can actually use screw caps to create more complexity in your wine that you would not otherwise achieve.